Hey everyone, my name is Dillon Gonzalez. I'm the editorial director for GeekVibesNation.com and also a co-host of the Home Dance Film Festival podcast. And I am very excited to be here with you for the very first Video Addict new release roundup of 2024. Now, anyone who watched my video last week knows that my colleague Michael Vaughn, who I usually co-host this with, is taking a much-needed holiday break, and they will be back next week, and we'll resume our normal back-and-forth format. But until then, I'm rolling solo and just kind of filling in the holiday gap with a few titles that I want everyone to have on their radar and I think deserve a little bit of a spotlight. So I'm just going to dig right in and just kind of, it's a great slate of titles, and the first one is one of my favorite boutique labels that actually started out last year, so they're just celebrating their 1 year of operation, and this is a hell of a title to do it with. This is The Facts of Murder, which is a great Italian crime investigation film that it starts out with a robbery, and the investigation soon turns to murder as things kind of pile up and revelations come to the forefront. And this is directed by Pietro Germi, who actually co-stars, or actually stars in the film, which I did not know until I was reading the label description that was actually the director, but he does a very good job in both roles. In this co-stars Claudia Cardinal, who I will actually be talking about in a movie a little bit later as well. This is one of my favorites that I'm talking about this week, so I'm starting out with a banger. Like I said, it's a investigative drama where this dogged detective is uncovering kind of all the mysteries within this apartment complex where this crime has went down, and you get to know more and more about after each confrontation with a suspect or a new crime is committed, and this all just develops really well. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it's just a very solid investigative drama, and the performances are fantastic. I love Claudia, which I'll wax poetic about more later in the show, but all the performers in this one are really great, and it's shot in moody black and white, and it just has a really great kind of noirish atmosphere, but it's also kind of reminiscent of some gialli camera movements, and it's just a really great drama, and it's like I said, one of my favorites that I've discovered. This actually comes from a 4K scan of the original camera negative, and it looks fantastic. The grayscale, the black and white looks fantastic. The blacks are deep. The highlights are not blooming or anything. There's not much in the way of nicks or scratches. This has been cleaned up very well, and it's been well maintained. This does come with a couple of really great special features, including a 47-minute interview, another 39-minute documentary on the director, and then a 19-minute visual essay on the film. So, and kind of the genre. So overall, Radiance Films has done a really nice job with The Facts of Murder, and it is one, if it's not on your radar, definitely do so, especially if you're a fan of Italian cinema. There's a lot of great stuff within this. So Facts of Murder, a highlight of this outing. Going over to Hong Kong, this is from 88 Films, who practices mostly in Hong Kong, but there's they do some detours here and there. But this newest one is The Blue Jean Monster, which kind of shakes things up from what I normally talk about, which are usually straight crime dramas or martial arts dramas, or like martial arts action films. This is the reversible cover art that I'm showing here. The other side is just like this, but I'm trying to save some time by not showing all of that off. Here's the disc art and a reversible poster, so you can kind of see that in there. So this kind of is a little bit different because it's a supernatural crime thriller. So this kind of has almost like a Frankenstein-esque quality. It involves the cop who here, who he is at the beginning of the film, he is pursuing this gang of thieves who have just robbed a bank, and they're very bloodthirsty because they've left behind basically no witnesses, and they kidnap this young girl in their way for getting away from this robbery. And along the way, this detective gets killed, but he gets revived through supernatural means. It's kind of reminiscent of Batman Returns because there's a supernatural kitty and then there's lightning strikes, so it's kind of a combination of Frankenstein and Batman Returns. But he comes back, and the back of the case actually compares it to Crank. There he becomes kind of like a undead monster who has his like human faculty, like sensibilities about him, but he's kind of charged by electricity, and so it's just a crime drama with this supernatural being at the forefront. And the crime investigative action elements are really great. I really like those, and there's some really great action sequences and stunts, and it's very brutal in a lot of points, and I really like that. What I did not like so much is the inconsistent comedy. Most of it misses, and there's just some really odd things throughout here, especially running jokes about like homosexuality and the AIDS crisis at this time. There's just like a lot of cheap shots that don't age well, but beyond that, a lot of the humor is just very stupid and doesn't really gel with kind of hardened crime aspects. So it's a little bit of an inconsistent movie for me, but overall I enjoyed it more than I didn't. I just wish, I understand that at this period of time it was popular to include like a lot of like juvenile comedic elements. It just didn't completely work for me. But overall, this is a really nice release. The Blu-ray comes from a 2K restoration of the original camera negative. It looks very nice. There's not too much in the way of special features, but there is a 21-minute interview with the assistant director that gets you a lot of insights about the production and working with the director and some of his history. And it's a nice package with like the poster and slipcover and everything. So if it sounds appealing to you and you're more open to kind of some silly humor, the Blue Jean Monster is probably more so your speed. But there are other Hong Kong movies that I would recommend way before this if you're kind of more of a neophyte trying to get more caught up with the genre. My next title is one I'm very excited about. It is from our friends at Imprint Films. And as I talked about last week, I'll reiterate for those who didn't watch that. Imprint Films is a label from Australia, so you will have to import this release if you want to watch it, but it will play in US Blu-ray players. It'll play worldwide. But this is the latest in the Essential Film Noir collection. This is Volume 5. I covered Volume 4 previously. You can see that here. I talked about it quite a while ago, but this is the 5th volume, and this has I believe there's 4 worldwide debuts. I know at least 3 of them are worldwide debuts, and one might be a re-release from an Olive Films Blu-ray that was released domestically, but a lot of new stuff, including The Island of Doomed Men with Peter Lorre, creepy-ass Peter Lorre, The Red Menace here, with no one I think of a special note. The Burglar, which here you got Dan Duryea and Jane Mansfield, and then you have finally 13 West Street here with Alan Ladd and Rob Steiger. And I'll kind of go through these piece by piece. As far as packaging goes, all of these fit neatly into this packaging, and then whenever you get it, instead of here, this is covering it, so you kind of get some of the information about each, like a little bit of a synopsis and some of the technical elements, but I just kind of slide that in there just for ease of packaging. All of these are solid film noirs, and I enjoyed all of them. The Island of Doomed Men is a really quick watch, and it's mostly notable for having Peter Lorre do his Peter Lorre thing of being creepy, but it's about a convict who is erroneously sent to an island where that Peter Lorre kind of resides over, where he kind of is a malicious figure over his prisoners, and basically our lead is trying to stop him and put a stop to it. The Red Menace, it's kind of exaggerated look at kind of the Red Scare movement of like communism, and it's very just like communism is bad, and it's very over the top in its portrayal of such things, but overall it's entertaining. It's kind of one of the weaker ones in this set, though. The Burglar, it's a very moody piece. I really liked it. It's very atmospheric, and it's about like a thief who kind of gets mixed up in a job, and he's being pursued by some authority figures, and it's just kind of standard stuff, but overall really good. And maybe my favorite is 13 West Street, which is about Alan Ladd's character. He plays a man who is attacked by a group of teens at the beginning of the movie, and he kind of becomes obsessed with bringing them to justice, and it starts to unravel his life, especially as they threaten to get revenge or like take out commit violence against him and his family if he continues investigating. And he's just, it kind of overall consumes him. And yes, it is about him trying to find these teenagers, but it's more so about his obsession and how it kind of impacts him. And it's a really good movie, and this is a really good set of films. This is from I believe all of these are Columbia/Sony handled releases. So that what that means is, for those who don't remember or have not known, Sony handles all of their remastering in-house, so they don't allow any labels to do any remastering themselves. So these all come from Sony, so there are not new masters, but most of them look really good. I would say, unfortunately, 13 West Street, which is my favorite, probably looks the weakest. Seems like there may have been a little bit of digital manipulation on that one, because it doesn't look completely organic, but the other three look really nice overall, and I think they're really solid transfers. Even if maybe they're not specifically from a 2K or 4K scan, these are all really nice masters that Sony has provided the imprint. And in terms of special features, I think they also have a pretty heavy hand on what gets included special features-wise, because there's not any new material created for this release, and the archival material is very sparse. There's some trailers scattered throughout. The Red Menace is the one that has a lot of special features, and that includes an entire feature-length documentary that runs an hour and 42 minutes about kind of the Red Scare and kind of that time in history. So a whole feature-length documentary, a commentary track, and then another 15-minute short about that kind of era in Hollywood, the blacklisting of people in Hollywood. So that's a really good short film. Besides that, special features wise, the only notable thing is on The Burglar, there's like a 9-minute intro from Martin Scorsese. That's an archival featurette of him kind of talking about the movie and just kind of introducing it. So not packed with special features, but what is there on The Red Menace is very impressive. But overall, if you're a fan of film noir, these are some really choice titles that mostly have not been released anywhere else in the world. So you might want to look into importing it, because really good sets, and you probably don't want to wait to see if a U.S. company eventually gets the rights, because it could be a while, because I don't even think the fourth volume I have here, I haven't seen any of those titles released, and it's been at least 7 or 8 months since then. So be sure to pick that up from imprint, either from them directly or through a specialty store like Grindhouse or Orbit or Diabolic, anything like that. They'll hook you up, and they're great. They always package stuff great. I really love them. My next title, going back to the USA, is from Classic Flicks, another one of my favorites, and this is Our Town. And this is based on the classic Thornton Wilder play. And this stars William Holden and Martha Scott. This is a pretty straightforward adaptation of that material, which I actually performed that. Went back when I was in theater in high school, I believe. Maybe I was a freshman. And it's a really folksy play, just about like a small town in the past, and kind of the kind of like an aw shucks quality, but it just kind of talks about like small town life and death and different stages of people's lives. And it had been a while since I had engaged with the material, so I didn't remember it completely, but I was doing some research afterwards and realized that they did change the ending pretty dramatically, and that kind of made a lot of people irritated, especially like a lot of people I was reading reviews online. They did not like the change in the ending. I didn't mind it. I thought it was a nice ending, but I think that kind of goes against what people believe the ethos of the play is, that it shouldn't be so like Hollywood glamorous. But I liked it. I think it's a good movie. I especially like Martha Scott. I think she's very precious, and I really like her. And William Holden is almost unrecognizable at this stage in his career. He's kind of a little bit older, or a little bit younger than I'm used to him, but he does a really good job, and the whole cast does a really good job. The presentation from Classic Flicks is really nice. This comes from a 4K restoration, and of the 35 millimeter elements that were provided by the Library of Congress. And this film previously was released in very poor form and just like really never looked great. This looks fantastic. Classic Flicks has done a very nice job with it. They've also included some special features, including a commentary track, an interview, a couple of different radio adaptations of this story, and then a restoration comparison to see where the film was compared to what it looks like now. And it's a huge leap in quality. And I always love those looks, so you can kind of see the actual jump in quality for some of these movies, and it's very impressive. So Classic Flicks has rescued another title. If you're a fan of this, or if you just love old kind of low-key Hollywood kind of dramas, definitely check this one out, because it's a really worthy release. Coming forward in time to something much more modern, I'm going to do back-to-back titles that are partner labels of Vinegar Syndrome and OCN Distribution. The first one is a partner label release from Yellow Veil Pictures, and this is Ladyworld from director Amanda Kramer, who I talked about earlier last year, I guess now, with Give Me Pity. And then I also have reviewed Please Baby Please for the site on Blu-ray, and both of those were interesting releases. I know or Give Me Pity was one that it took me a while to come around on. So I think, judging based on how I felt about this film, that Amanda Kramer is someone that I end up usually liking after maybe a subsequent viewing, or after I've kind of done a little bit of soul searching or research or all that. Here's the reversible cover art here, and so I'm anxious to revisit this one, especially after reading the essays in here. This is kind of Lord of the Fly-esque. This was released in 2018, I believe. And it's about a group of young girls who find themselves, at the beginning of the film, there is a massive earthquake that traps them in this house, and it's a group of like eight girls who are, they are trapped in there together and they don't know how long they're going to be trapped, and it just kind of becomes like this isolated place where they kind of start to lose their minds, and kind of things start to deteriorate, like the moral and kind of psychological things start to deteriorate, and you kind of follow their exploration. But it doesn't go to anything too extreme, but there's also this kind of thread of, is there potentially a man trapped in there with them, or is this all kind of something that maybe one of them conjured in their mind, and like kind of a group thing starts to begin of like, maybe there may be a man hiding in this house. Overall, I think it's a good movie, but it's a little bit slow and to get to where I want it to be, and it kind of lulls you into this kind of place where you expect more from the story, but it doesn't really give it to you. And there's a lot of really good exchanges between the characters, and what really I was really drawn to heading into the movie was the cast. It has a really strong cast. I can't remember the woman's name, but she is one of the leads of How to Blow Up a Pipeline from last year, which was really great. The most prominent cast member is probably Maya Hawke, who has become much more prolific since this has come out with like Stranger Things and stuff. But everyone does a really nice job within this story. It just is a little bit dull in places, and but it is one I am looking forward to revisiting again. But the Blu-ray is great from Yellow Veil Pictures. It is a perfectly clear picture that's in line with what you would want from a modern film. Sound is good. DTS 5.1 works very well. Has really great special features, including a commentary track from Amanda Kramer, some deleted scenes, an alternate intro, some short films, and then an entire feature that also from Amanda Kramer, which I believe I see people listing this as her debut, but this feature is called Paris Window, is listed as coming out before this, and it actually runs 85 minutes, so it is a full feature film that is also included here in HD. It may have been a student film, maybe that's why they're not classifying it as her debut, but it is a fantastic addition to this. So you actually get 2 films within Ladyworld. So with both of these, this title and the next one I'm talking about, if you are interested in a really nice slipcover, if there are still some available, you can go to the Vinegar Syndrome website and go to the partner labels, and you can pay like maybe a few dollars more for a nice slipcover if you're interested in that. But Ladyworld, it's worth checking out, even if I didn't completely love it upon my first viewing. It is one I feel it's going to stick in my mind, and I'll want to revisit again soon. The next film I did love the first time I watched it, and it is the newest one from our friends at Deaf Crocodile, and that is The Mysterious Castle in the Carpathians. And this is based on a Jules Verne text from like the late 1800s. But it's wild, and I believe this is a Czech film, if I'm not mistaken. But this, yeah, it's a Czech film. And so here is the booklet, and you get some essays and stuff in here, and photo reproductions and all that good stuff. No real reversible cover art, but you can kind of see how it looks on the inside there. So this one, it is wild. It is about a kind of a man who goes on a journey throughout the rural countryside to find his long lost love, who has disappeared, and along the way he kind of finds his way to this mysterious castle filled with this madman who has kidnapped her, and he has all these weird inventions in his castle, and this really has a strange sensibility. There's a little bit of Terry Gilliam in it. There's just it's hard to kind of really break down what this is. There's like a steampunk element, and just all kinds of oddball humor. Like they compared a little bit to Mel Brooks and on the back of the cover, and I can kind of understand that too. But like one of the ongoing things that really tickled me is like the lost woman's name is Salsa Verde, which I think is hilarious. And there's a lot of kind of things like that, with like just the sight of a man kind of like going at double speed, like on this like kind of steampunk like steam powered automobile that's kind of has all these kind of gadgets on it, is a hilarious visual. And all kinds of just weird non sequiturs, and like people shaming other people for not having authentic beards. There's a lot of beard shaming. It's great. I love it. It's just kind of like one of those zany movies. Also, not from the same label, but I talked about from Yellow Veil Pictures a few months ago, the work of Wojciech Haas, with like How to Love and there's another title that I talked about from him that it's like the Hourglass Sanatorium, stuff like that. It has like kind of this weird kind of out of body kind of feeling to the whole thing. It's just really surreal and fantastic, and I really love this. It's really funny and really inventive, and it kind of has like a really fun aesthetic that I love being in this world. It's also one of my favorites that I've watched this week. This comes from a restoration handled by Deaf Crocodile, and they are always fantastic. They try to make things look pristine, immaculate, and they succeed. It's a really good looking picture. The sound is great. The subtitles I did not spot any errors in the subtitles, so those look nice. This also has a commentary track, a couple of short films, and an 84-minute documentary, and then another like on the writer, I believe. I don't think it's a director, and then like another 38-minute interview with the daughter of the writer as well. So conducted by Deaf Crocodile. So overall, fantastic, well-rounded release. If you want that slipcover, go to the Vinegar Syndrome website, or you can go to the Deaf Crocodile website and order directly from them, and you can get a really nice slipcover as well. But the standard edition is also really cool, and I highly recommend it. Heading away from the land of Ocean distribution, going more to, I have several titles that are in the Kino family, or at least this one's distributed by Kino through the Cohen Film Collection, and that is a 2-pack of The Sea Shall Not Have Them and Albert R.N. These are 2 war films from Lewis Gilbert, who people might know that directed some of the earlier James Bond movies, and overall, 2 films on 1 disc, and they're not overly long, so there's no real issues with compression or anything like that. I would say there's 1 middling film and 1 really good film, and The Sea Shall Not Have Them, for me, is more of the middling film. It is about some men who are lost at sea, who have been shot down at sea and are trying to like survive, and it doesn't really do anything too exciting within the war genre. It's fine, but it didn't particularly wow me. But Albert R.N., while not completely novel, it's a lot more fun. It's like a POW drama in the vein of like Stalag 17, just not as well known. And you get some of that dynamic between like the prisoners and their German captors. And what makes this one unique is the Albert R.N. of it all, the title. Albert is this doll that one of the prisoners create, and to kind of like take the place of one of the prisoners who escape, and it's like made to look so lifelike that it will kind of fool the guards, who are kind of slowly like quickly glancing past people. And this may seem a little unbelievable, but it is based on and somewhat in reality on a real incident. But it's a POW drama. It's fun. It's not too bleak, but it's not totally unrealistic. It strikes a good tone, and overall I really enjoyed it. So for that alone, I would recommend this. But The Sea Shall Not Have Them is also, it's passable. It's just not my favorite. But worth checking out if you're a fan. This not listed as coming from a new restoration, but both of them hold up pretty well. Some minor nicks here and there, but overall decent. No special features besides a trailer for Albert R.N. But overall, a good release from Cohen. My next few titles are from Kino Studio Classics directly, and my first one is The Hell with Heroes. So we're kind of sticking more in the war vein, but a little bit different. These are actually men who are in the Air Force, and they have recently got out of the Air Force, and they are in need of money. So one of them is played by Rod Taylor. And they get mixed up with this man, played by Harry Guarniño, who plays a magnificent bastard who is trying to get them to smuggle some items for them. And so it's like a smuggling drama, but it's also mixed with a little bit of a romance, because you also have the great Claudia Cardinale, who I talked about with The Facts of Murder earlier, and she here she's speaking English opposite Rod Taylor, and there's a little bit of she plays the villain's girlfriend, but she also has kind of like she's found herself kind of under his thumb and kind of wants to get out of this. Overall, it's a decent kind of smuggling wartime drama with like a protagonist who is trying to get out from a tough situation and save the girl and like save himself, and but he's also a little bit greedy. Overall, I enjoyed it. It's a pretty solid drama. This comes from a 2K scan of the 35mm inner positive. It's a really nice, natural looking transfer. It looks really good. Maybe small blemishes that remain here and there, but overall it's been cleaned up very well. Nice rich colors, nice sound, no extreme damage or anything. This does come with an audio commentary track and some assortment of trailers. So you do get a commentary track as far as special features, and it's a very nice presentation. So The Hell with Heroes, pretty solid. Another really good one is from Douglas Sirk, who is a master, and this is Has Anybody Seen My Gal? People probably know him best from like Heaven Can Wait, or All That Heaven Allows, There's Always Tomorrow, The Tarnished Angels, and the inside here. And this is actually an unexpected Christmas tale because the ending, it takes place at Christmas time, which I was not expecting, but still celebrating Christmas in my household, so it worked out well. So this stars a eccentric millionaire who is looking to potentially gift a large sum of money to a woman's family who meant a lot to him in his past. But before he does, he wants to kind of suss out if they are the type of people who really deserve it. And he kind of goes undercover as kind of a penniless man who cons his way into staying at their house in a very amusing manner, and kind of starts to learn about them, and eventually does give them the money. And the real thrust of the story is how this money impacts his family, and whether or not it actually helps their family, or if money is an albatross which brings them down. And that's kind of the main thrust of like how money impacts a family. And the mom of the family is someone who has a lot of regrets in her life, and she is always constantly she says she wants better for her daughter, and doesn't want her to settle for the man who she actually likes, played by a young Rock Hudson, in like kind of a smaller role, so it was interesting to see him. But just to kind of see how this family reacts to not having money and then eventually having money. It's a really good-natured film, and it kind of embodies the kind of jovial holiday spirit that is kind of associated with the holiday. It's funny. There's some musical moments in that work out well, and overall, it's just a charming film. I enjoyed it. It's nothing world-shattering, but it's a solid film from Douglas Sirk. Maybe not his best, but a really good one. This comes from a 2K scan, also from the 35mm inner positive. Looks very nice. Rich colors, not much in the way of damage or anything. This also comes with an audio commentary track from actress Piper Laurie that's moderated by a film historian. And also a vintage featurette of Piper Laurie and Gigi Pernu on reflecting on the film. This was from like 2009, and there's also some trailers. So really good release from Kino Studio Classics. My next film, oh boy, it is something. This is a film with Bing Crosby and Bob Hope and Joan Collins. This is The Road to Hong Kong. I know a lot of people love the road movies with Bing Crosby and Bob Hope. This is actually the first one I've seen. It is the last one that they produced. And all I gotta say is, okay, so you have Bob Hope in an Asian country in 1962. I think you can imagine how sensitively they handle this. Not very. As you can kind of see here with what he is dressed up as, this is not for anyone who is looking for something particularly politically correct. There's a lot of kind of just like easy shots at kind of Asian people and just like kind of Asian stereotypes are kind of more than indulged in. There are some non-problematic moments that are kind of amusing, involving Bob Hope being kind of like hypnotized and stuff. That kind of works a little bit better. And this film goes to some places. This goes off of Earth, if you can believe it. So it's really ambitious. So if you like these movies and you're not afraid of more problematic material, which I'm not, I just want to warn people that this is here. I think you'll enjoy this. I would assume that the other Road movies are probably better to start with since it's the last one. I assume they were probably running out of steam in some of the jokes, but I didn't love it. It's passable, but it's just, it'll make you kind of like wince. But quality-wise, it's a fantastic looking release. I think it's a really nice, rich picture. This is not noted as being from a new restoration, but it looks very nice. It's a very nice presentation. It does have an audio commentary and some trailers. So if you're a fan of the film, it's a good presentation, but watch out. It's problematic as hell. My next film, this is from Kino Classics, and starring Bridget Bardot. This is Please, Not Now. Please, Not Now. However you want to emphasize it. This is a pretty silly movie, but overall I really liked it. Bardot is just amazing in this. She is a beautiful woman. It's the most egregious thing is like believing that Bridget Bardot is like so unlucky in love that she has to like stalk a man. But this is about like a young actress who gets kind of broken up with by her boyfriend, who's kind of like been stringing her along for a long time, and she goes to try to find him while he's on vacation to kind of convince him otherwise, and she takes along a man who is very infatuated with her and has been kind of pursuing her in a very aggressive way. But there are also some problematic like things with like sexuality and like portrayal of women in this, but overall it's a very fun movie, and Bardot is fantastic. This goes into some surreal places as well, with like also hypnotism and stuff and mysticism. There's some brown face in here, I will say that up front as well. But if you like kind of like kooky French comedies, this one is fun, especially if you love Bridget Bardot. She is like so good in this, and this is, I don't know if it's from a new restoration, but it looks very nice. It holds up very well. It's a very consistent presentation. It does have an audio commentary from film historian Alexandra Heller-Nicholas, and then a theatrical trailer. But Bardot fans, definitely check this out. French comedy fans, check this out. Overall, good film. Next one, my final Kino title, is Odds Against Tomorrow, with Harry Belafonte, Robert Ryan, and Shelley Winters. Shelley Winters always seems to show up in a crime or film noir film. And I always love Singer. And this one is more based, it's unique because of its kind of like how it's showing racial relations, and it has Robert Ryan as a man who is getting into he is part of a crew that is going to start planning a bank robbery, and he does not realize that he's going to be on the same crew as Harry Belafonte, and Robert Ryan is a racist. So there's kind of these tensions throughout of how he is begrudgingly going along with his plan, but it keeps bubbling up until you get to the bank robbery, and like maybe things reach a breaking point. Spoiler, they do. But it's a good exploration of these different characters, and you get to see them a long time before they actually get to this bank robbery. It's not completely like your normal heist movie where they are consistently planning things from beginning to end. This is more so a character piece that ends up with a bank robbery, and it's really nice to kind of individually explore these characters and kind of how their lives are kind of unfolding. There's a really nice small but memorable supporting role from Gloria Graham, who people might know best from It's a Wonderful Life, and you can kind of see her there. So it's kind of a racy scene. But overall, all these performers are doing a good job, and the racial stuff is not overdone. It's not like trying to teach you a lesson necessarily, but it's very effective in what it's trying to do, and it's a very good movie. I wish that this transfer looked better. This is it's not noticed coming from a new master, and you can tell it. There are quite a bit of nicks and scratches here and there, a little bit of softness. This really needed a refresh, and I wish it would have gotten one. But it's a good enough movie that I would still recommend it, and you can get a nice slipcover, which it won't make up for the lack of AV quality, but the audio holds up better than the video. I just wish the video would have gotten a nice fresh remaster. It would have looked a lot better. This does come with an audio commentary track and 2 Q&A sessions, one from 2009, one from 2007, one with Harry Belafonte, and one with actress Kim Hamilton. So a good assortment of special features. I just wish the video could have been a little bit better. My final titles. These are all part of the same series, so I'll talk about these all at once. This is from our friends at Warner Archive, and this is the complete run of Batman, the Brave and the Bold. So you got season 1, season 2, and season 3. So the first 2 seasons are 26 episodes, so you get those spread across 2 discs. And so that's season 1. Here you go with season 2. And then the last season is 13 episodes, and you can see that here on a single disc. So everyone loves kind of the classic Batman the Animated Series. It's one of my favorites, like probably one of my favorite series overall. It's fantastic. And then there's also like the Batman, and which I have a soft spot for. There's been so many Batman series throughout the years. You can be like, what makes this one special? And yes, a lot of people do not like this show, and I understand why. It's a little bit different than maybe people are expecting, kind of like I said, especially the animated series, the original animated series, where it's kind of more of a darker, grittier tone in line with the Dark Knight. This isn't quite that. It's more of a comedic. It's not quite to the level of silliness as like a Teen Titans Go, but there's a lot of like good consistent humor, and what I think sets us apart is this series is mostly a series of team-ups with other really cool deep cut heroes. You're not getting necessarily like Superman and Wonder Woman and everything. You're getting more of like the deep cuts like Plastic Man and Aquaman before he was famous now and like $1 billion franchise grosser, but like you have like Booster Gold, Dead Man, Plastic Man, Red Tornado, Martian Manhunter, Guy Gardner, tons of people, just to name a few. And just seeing Batman have this interaction with some of these characters you don't always get in kind of TV show or feature film form. It's good to see them kind of rescued from kind of the dark corners of like DC comic books that mainstream audiences don't know, but comic book fans really love and appreciate. And the humor really works for me. There's a lot of really fun stuff. It's Batman is voiced by Diedrich Bader, who is an actor I really love. And there's a lot of fun guest stars that come throughout. And if you're a Batman fan and you're not completely locked into just like Batman has to be dark and brooding and all that stuff, if you like Merry Little Batman just recently came out, and it's more along the tones of something like that. If you enjoyed that, or if you're like riding the high from like the ending of the DCEU with Aquaman, and you still want more DC stuff, Batman the Brave and the Bold is not the worst choice. It's a fun series, and all 3 seasons are pretty consistent. It got shuttered after this, but overall, all 3 seasons that make up this series are worth checking out. Look beautiful on Blu-ray. Just like rich, bright colors, nice sound, TTS 2.0 sound. But no special features, unfortunately. I wish there would have been at least a few special features, but AV quality wise, these are ones you're going to want to own on Blu-ray. And like I said, I do recommend the show. It's a really fun one, and worth checking out from our friends at Warner Archive. I'm glad that they put it on Blu-ray because it's worth checking out if you're a fan of Batman. So that is my final title, and like I said, this is just a small assortment of titles that I wanted to put on your radar. If you enjoyed this, please let me know in the comments what you liked, what you want to see me talk about in the future. I will be back again next week with my colleague Michael Vaughn. Let us know what you want us to discuss. We are going to have a great 2024 in store. Make sure to share this around, subscribe to the channel. There's always something new on the channel. It's hard for even me to keep caught up, but make sure to check it out. I appreciate you spending this time with me, and I will see you again next week. But until next time, enjoy these movies.